Hey everybody, in this episode, we're going to talk about arguments. You know, you and your girl, you're getting in a fight. Nah, not those kind of arguments. We're talking about passing data to a function. Much more exciting. So this is how you can make a function that will work in multiple scenarios. So it's not just going to do the same thing every single time. You know, you might want that function to be able to do two different things or multiple different things. We're also going to be talking about return data. Sometimes that function is going to do something for us and give us back a result. Also, look at this reflection. It's pretty. It's purple. You may hear of the concept of a black box in software development, and this is commonly used when you're discussing functions. So if you imagine the function as a box and it's black so you can't see what's happening inside, it's completely opaque. This function does something, but it will often require inputs and give back outputs. And you don't actually have to understand every detail of what's going on the inside of the box. All you need to understand is what happens when you give it a certain input, what's the output you should expect. If you can test that function enough, then you can just see it as a puzzle piece that you can just bring into your code and use whenever you need that functionality. If you keep building on this principle and you start collecting a bunch of useful functions, you can now have a function library. And this is going to allow you to write software a whole lot easier because your code is now just going to be much smaller, a bunch of function calls. You don't really need to understand every detail of them, but you get generally how they work. And your overall code readability is improved. Your testing ability is improved because you can isolate different functionality to test. And it's just a highly recommended approach. So enough rambling. I just wanted to give you a little bit of extra substance. Now let's go into creating arguments after I give you a wonderful message about our sponsor. So this is not just an ordinary sponsor, you see. This sponsor is actually the IDE that we've been using in this series, C++ Builder. So if you've been following along word for word, type by type, then you're probably pretty familiar with C++ Builder. But if you're not, then definitely check it out. You can get a free community edition link down below, and that would really help out this channel. So let's go ahead and start building out a game. So you can see right now we're not really doing anything. What kind of game do you want to play? You want to make something simple like Call of Duty? I think I'll go with something like a guessing game. You can imagine the user playing the game for some period of time, and then let's say they actually beat the game. You could return true or false. True if they won the game, and false if they lost the game. This is the return data. And because true has a type, it's of type Boolean, you're going to go up here and change void to bool. I know I said I was going to start with arguments, but the concept of a return is fairly simple, so I figured I'd show that. And now what we can do is we can actually start building functionality. So we will just say a correct number is 42. Later on, we'll talk about how to generate this in the next episode, so that way it's a truly pseudo-random number anyways. And what we'll do now is say, guess a number. And we'll give them a certain number of guesses. So let's say you get, and we'll have a variable guesses, and then we'll just use the string guesses. So it'll tell them how many guesses that they get to guess the number. But where does guesses come from? This is where we can use an argument. So we might want to be able to play this game with 5 guesses, 10 guesses. And we can customize that whenever we call this function by passing it in to this parameter here. So this is a variable of type int called guesses. So notice we don't say what that value is anywhere in this function. We say what that value is when we call the function. And then all we will need to do is say int guess, and we'll get a value for that. If guess is correct, then they win. And in that situation, we will return true. So that's where that return true is going to come in. And otherwise, we can return false. Now notice you don't have to use else here because in any scenario that you reach this line, it's going to be false. However, else is not going to hurt anything. So now when we invoke play game, we can pass a number to it, such as down here. And we'll say play game with 1 guess. and that's because it's impossible mode. Down where we have multiple difficulties, we'll just assume that they get 5 guesses. Or maybe it would be appropriate to break this out into different difficulties. So case 0 being easy, we can say play a game, and we'll say 10 guesses. And then for medium, that's where we can say 5. Play a game, 5 guesses. And then lastly, hard is going to be 3 guesses. Now, how do we actually know if they won the game? Well, first off, you're going to want to break after each one of these, so that way it doesn't go to the next section of code. And since this is returning data, we can assign it to something. So we can say 1 is equal to play game. And we're going to do that same exact thing. The way this will evaluate is the function call will happen first. This will be ran. It'll evaluate to true or false, and then that value will be assigned to 1, which we can define up here. Or because we're going to be doing something very similar with the impossible mode, we could actually define 1 to be here, bool 1, and we will assign it here as well. So that's how we can check if they've won. And down after all of these calls, and you can follow these lines up if you get lost. So this is if they've beat the game before. So 1 higher if the response is Y. After all of this code, but not outside of that curly brace, we can say if 1, and inside of here, C out, congrats, you won. Else, C out, try again later. I'm going to go ahead and add a new line here as well. So let's test this out. Now, just to warn you, we don't actually have the loop functionality in here to play multiple guesses. We're going to talk about that probably in the next episode. But for now, we can still simulate this with the code we have. So we'll run this, make sure we don't have any errors or issues. Do you want to play a game? Yes. Let's play a game. Then have you beat the game? We'll say no. You'll go with medium difficulty, guess a number, you get 5 guesses. So notice how that value was generalized here, and it's passed in, and it worked. So 5 guesses. That comes from down here, play game 5. Cool. So we'll guess a number, 42. Congrats, you won. Let's try it again. We'll just try a few times to make sure we get the idea. Yes. And yes, I've beat the game. Because you beat the game, you can play impossible mode. Guess a number, you get 1 guess. We'll say 40, and it says try again later. Or maybe you want to say like you lost or something, because it makes it sound like it's broken. You lost. That is your introduction to arguments and return data. Stay tuned for the next video where we're actually going to finish the game functionality. It's a little bit more of a jump up in content difficulty, so it might be actually built out over the next 2 videos. But by the end of that, you'll have an idea about how to use loops as well as random numbers, and it should be pretty good practice. So hopefully this video has been helpful, fun, and I'll see you in the next video.